Do you believe that forgetting where you left your glasses or repeating a story is just a normal part of aging? What if I told you that these might be the first signs that something much more serious is happening, and almost no one realizes it? The scariest thing about dementia isn't the memory loss itself, it's the fact that it begins quietly, disguised as everyday routine. While most people wait for serious symptoms like confusion or total disorientation, the real warning signs are already there, hidden in the smallest details. And that's where the danger lies. When everything seems fine, that's when you need to pay the most attention. The truth is harsh, but necessary. Waiting too long to act can cost someone you love, or even yourself, their independence, dignity, and freedom. And the worst part? These early signs are often brushed off as just part of getting older, as if ignoring them was okay. But it's not. Because when you recognize what no one else sees, you get the chance to protect the people you love, to stop forgetfulness from also stealing connections, memories, and precious moments. This isn't just about disease. It's about presence. About paying attention while there's still time. About listening to what the body and mind are trying to say, even when they whisper. Today, I'm going to show you the 6 most common behaviors seniors display before developing dementia, and that almost no one notices. And the best part? You don't need to be a doctor, therapist, or specialist to recognize these signs. Contrary to what you've been told, you already have everything you need to spot these early red flags and turn this knowledge into care, prevention, and better quality of life. It can be simple, it can start right now, maybe even with something that happened yesterday and seemed like nothing. So stay with me until the end. Because if you notice even one of these signs, in yourself, your parents, or someone close, it could change everything. And in the next minute, the first sign will surprise you with how common it is, and at the same time, how powerful. Subscribe to our channel now so you don't miss any of this important content. Number 1. Forgetting simple words in the middle of everyday sentences. Have you ever caught yourself trying to remember an easy word like key, window, or phone, but it just slipped out of your mind for a few seconds? That happens to everyone once in a while. But when this type of memory lapse starts to happen often, especially with simple, everyday words, it can be one of the earliest warning signs. What's curious is that the person often continues the sentence normally but replaces the missing word with something like that thing where you know, that stuff. And this is the detail many people ignore, because it seems small, but it says a lot. When the brain starts having trouble retrieving basic words, it may be a sign that the connection between memory and language is beginning to weaken. Think of the brain as a giant network of train tracks. Each word is a destination, and the tracks are the mental pathways linking your thoughts to your speech. When these tracks begin to wear out, the train doesn't reach the right places easily. And the most dangerous part? These delays happen too fast to seem alarming at first. But over time, they build up. A real-life example, Mary, a 74-year-old woman from Pittsburgh, had always been very talkative. Her family started to notice that she was using the word thing more and more. "Can you hand me that thing over there on the table?" At first, they laughed. Then came the concern. Mary was still cooking, driving, and going on her walks, but her language was changing. When they finally sought help, they discovered that this was one of the earliest signs of cognitive decline. It was a shock, but also a relief, because the early diagnosis allowed them to care for her with more awareness and compassion. What many people don't realize is that language is like a window into the brain. When words start to slip away, the body is whispering something important. And sometimes, that whisper is the only chance to act before the window shuts completely. And there's another sign, perhaps even more subtle, that almost no one notices, yet it often appears early, hidden in the most ordinary details of everyday life. Number 2. Repeating the same story or question multiple times without realizing it. Have you ever been with an older person and, within just a few minutes, heard the same story 2 or 3 times? Or answered the same question as if it were the first time they asked it? It's easy to assume this is just part of getting older, and sometimes it is. But when this repetition becomes frequent and the person doesn't seem to notice they've already said it, that's when you need to pay closer attention. This repetition isn't just distraction. It may point to something deeper, a breakdown in short-term memory function. Short-term memory is like a shelf where we temporarily store new information before either filing it away or discarding it. When that shelf starts to fail, the brain doesn't register that something was just said. So for the person experiencing this, repeating something isn't stubbornness, it truly feels like the first time every time. And for loved ones, it can be painful to witness these subtle shifts. This failure to register new information is one of the most common early traits of dementia, but also one of the most overlooked. Take Gerald, a 78-year-old retiree from Kansas City. During a family visit, he asked about his grandson Mike at least 4 times in under 30 minutes. Each time, in the exact same tone, as if asking for the very first time. His daughter, Jennifer, thought it was odd, but only after speaking with a nurse friend did she realize it could be a red flag. Gerald had always been in good health, but the repeated questions marked the beginning of a new stage, one that required more patience, more attention, and above all, more love. It's hard to pinpoint when repetition stops being a harmless habit and becomes a symptom. But the body and mind have quiet, delicate ways of calling for help. And often, that call is hidden in the silence between repeated words. Now, what happens when behavior begins to shift, subtly, yet noticeably, in social situations that once felt easy and natural? Number 3. Avoiding social interactions that used to bring joy. Imagine someone who was always cheerful, loved chatting with neighbors, going to church gatherings, and joining community events. Then, suddenly, this person starts turning down invitations, avoiding phone calls, and preferring to spend more time alone. Many people associate this change with aging fatigue or simply a desire for peace and quiet. But what few know is that this withdrawal can be one of the first signs of dementia. When the brain starts struggling to follow conversations, remember names, or keep up socially, it often responds by pulling back. It's as if the mind is trying to protect itself from being exposed. Social interactions require memory, language, attention, and emotional flexibility, and when these functions begin to falter, what was once an enjoyable social environment becomes a source of anxiety. So the person begins to avoid it. It's not due to a lack of affection, but rather a fear of seeming confused, of forgetting simple things, of being judged. And this isolation can actually speed up cognitive decline, creating a dangerous cycle of loneliness and mental deterioration. What seems like just a quiet phase may, in fact, be a silent cry for understanding. Take the example of Linda, 76, who lived in Austin, Texas. For years, she was the heart and soul of Sunday gatherings with her church friends, always ready with jokes, funny stories, and warm hugs. But slowly, she began missing the events. She said she was tired or preferred to stay home watching TV. Her friends respected that, but her daughter Megan noticed something else. Linda was also avoiding phone calls, replying to texts with short messages. When asked, she'd say, "I just don't have much to say." The truth? She was afraid of messing up, of forgetting names, of being seen differently. This kind of emotional withdrawal is like a curtain being slowly drawn. And behind it, a silent transformation might be beginning. That's why noticing this type of distancing with empathy can be the first step toward offering meaningful support. And speaking of behavioral changes, there's another subtle sign that tends to appear early, when someone starts getting lost in familiar places. Number 4. Getting lost or confused in familiar places. Think of that grocery store where someone has always shopped. Or the street they've driven down their entire life to get to church or visit a friend. When someone starts getting lost in these familiar places, even for just a few minutes, it's time to pay close attention. It might seem like mere distraction or a momentary lapse, but if it happens repeatedly, especially in routine locations, it's one of the earliest and most frightening signs of dementia. Because it's more than a memory issue, it's a disruption in spatial orientation, something the brain normally handles effortlessly. Our brains hold an internal map that guides us, often without us even realizing it. This map relies on visual memory, sense of direction, and spatial associations. When that map starts to fail, the person can feel like they're in an unfamiliar place, even when they're right at home. It leads to insecurity, frustration, and often, deep embarrassment. It's as if the world around them no longer makes sense, and that can have a huge emotional impact. Many people going through this try to hide it, laugh it off, or simply avoid going out alone. Take Harold, 81, from Tampa, Florida. He used to walk to the same corner coffee shop every day, a routine that had been part of his life for over a decade. One day, he took longer than usual to return. When he finally got home, he was agitated and confused. He'd gotten lost just 2 blocks away. He tried to laugh it off, but his eyes told a different story. His daughter Emily saw it clearly. Something was changing. The street hadn't changed. But for Harold, it no longer felt familiar. The internal map that had always guided him effortlessly was beginning to fade. When home stops feeling familiar, it's as if the person begins losing the very pillars of their world. But these signs, as delicate as they may be, offer a rare opportunity, the chance to act with love and care before autonomy disappears completely. And there's another behavior, often mistaken for stubbornness, that may actually reveal something much deeper. Number 5. Difficulty making simple everyday decisions. Choosing what to wear, what channel to watch, or even what to eat for lunch has always been automatic, right? But for someone in the early stages of dementia, even these routine choices can become confusing. When a person starts hesitating for long minutes over simple decisions, or begins depending on others to make choices they always handled on their own, it could be an early, subtle sign that something is shifting inside. This difficulty isn't laziness or disinterest. It's as if the brain gets stuck, unable to complete tasks that once felt natural. The ability to decide involves memory, attention, and mental organization. When these systems start to fail, even choosing between coffee or tea can feel like navigating a maze. Seniors may go silent, give vague answers, or simply delegate the decision, not out of convenience, but because the mental effort has become too heavy. And since this kind of difficulty can seem normal with aging, many families overlook the warning signs, delaying an important diagnosis. Take Barbara, 80, from Sacramento, California. She had always been practical and decisive. But over the past few months, her daughter noticed she was taking a long time to pick out her clothes. She'd sit, staring at the closet, changing her mind over and over, and in the end, she'd ask her daughter to choose for her. At first, it seemed like vanity or simple indecision, but then came the forgetfulness, and the repetitions. Now, the family understands it was a silent cry for help. And the earlier that cry is recognized, the greater the chances of preserving the person's independence for longer. Noticing this kind of indecision is like seeing a light fog begin to settle inside the mind. It's still thin, but if ignored, it can quickly become thick and overwhelming. And speaking of choices, there's one last behavior that's often confused with distraction or messiness, but it carries something much deeper beneath the surface. Number 6. Disorganization with objects and frequently losing personal items. Everyone loses their keys or forgets where they left their glasses from time to time. That's just life. But when this starts happening with unusual frequency, when a senior begins placing objects in completely inappropriate places, like putting the TV remote in the fridge or the salt in the bathroom cabinet, it goes beyond simple distraction. It's a warning sign. The constant misplacement of personal items, paired with the frustration of not remembering where they were left, is one of the most common early signs of dementia, yet also one of the most dismissed. What's behind this is a weakening of what we call working memory, the function that helps us stay focused on small tasks while doing other things at the same time. When this ability starts to fail, the brain doesn't properly register what was being done or where an object was placed. That's why the person feels like something simply disappeared. At that moment, the mind is no longer coordinating simple actions with the same precision. And that's when the small everyday scares begin to show up. That's what happened with Frank, 79, who lives in Denver, Colorado. He had always lived an organized life. But gradually, he started losing the garage keys, his phone, his glasses. One day, his wife found his wallet in the freezer. Frank laughed, thought it was funny, said he must have been distracted. But then it happened again. And again. Later, the family realized those episodes were early signs of a silent process already underway. Today, they look back and see that each misplaced item was a quiet cry for attention and care. It's as if the brain begins to take apart a puzzle that took a lifetime to build. Each item out of place is a piece slipping away. But it's also a chance to notice, to act, to support. And when we learn to recognize these signs, we start to see aging not as the end, but as a path that can still be walked with dignity, support, and love. Because sometimes, it all begins with something small, and only those who are truly paying attention will notice. If you saw even one of these behaviors in yourself or someone you love, take a deep breath. This doesn't mean the end, it means the beginning of conscious attention. Catching it early is like turning on the light in a room that many prefer to keep dark. Each small signal you notice is proof that you're still in the game, willing to protect memories, independence, and identity. That's rare and precious. It's not luck, it's presence, a daily choice to take care now rather than regret later. Your body, or your loved ones, is speaking, asking for rhythm, routine, stimulation, and warmth. And when you listen, you build bridges where others only see walls. There's a powerful next step, simple daily habits that strengthen these areas before the fog grows thicker. Aging well isn't about escaping time, it's about turning time into your ally. Some people hand over the steering wheel of their days to beliefs like it's normal to forget or there's no point anymore. But you've already moved past that barrier. You've seen that early signs aren't just small flaws, they're messages. And when you respond with cognitive stimulation, movement, balanced nutrition, social interaction, and purpose, you can slow the decline and restore a spark in the eyes. Think of it like tuning an instrument before a long performance, because there are still entire chapters left to be lived. And here's the thing, some of the most powerful adjustments take minutes, not years, to start bringing back clarity. Knowing how to spot these behaviors puts you in a rare, watchful group. While many wait for something serious to happen, you're already building quiet protection, structured environments, open conversations, daily stimulation, and professional guidance when needed. This isn't paranoia, it's applied dignity. Be proud, recognizing a sign is like recovering a piece of a mosaic that could have been lost. You're not alone on this road, there's a growing community of mature people committed to preserving memory, voice, and connection. So tonight, before you go to bed, choose one small action, call someone, tidy up a space, read aloud for 5 minutes, take a walk and notice the path. These small acts are anchors that tell the brain, I'm still here. Value every sign you notice not as a threat, but as an opportunity. Life isn't shrinking, it's asking for fine-tuning so it can continue to flourish. And if you stay aware, you'll begin to see other positive signs emerge, more presence, more fluent speech, more confidence in choices. In our next video, we'll reveal exactly which daily habits fuel that clarity, and which ones silently sabotage your progress. Now tell me in the comments, which of the 6 behaviors did you relate to the most? Just write the number, or a short phrase. Share this video with a friend or family member in your age group who needs to see this today. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss our next video about the simple habits that boost memory and decision-making. And drop a comment to let us know what you learned today, and which small step you'll take in the next 24 hours. Your participation keeps this message alive, and it could be the alert that saves someone's independence.